Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Coffee with QQ. I actually want to change the name of today's episode in honor of my very first football coach, Coach Stindt, who just passed away recently. So I'd love to title this episode Coffee with Coco. For those of you who don't know, Coco is my nickname, and it was given to me back in 7th grade. When I first joined football, I noticed, I think this was 6th grade, I noticed that kids on Fridays would wear their football jerseys because they had game day the next day, Saturday. And that first caught my interest. And it was also a time where I started watching the St. Louis Rams and Marshall Faulk, one of the most prolific, I believe, running backs of all time. Was a player that I wanted to embody. He could catch, he could run. The offense of the St. Louis Rams at the time was close to unstoppable, unless they ran into the Patriots. But I joined 7th grade Eagles football, and Coach Stindt was very much the centerpiece of making me feel like I was a part of something. And though I didn't know much about football, I feel like he is the type of man and person that kind of just meets you where you are. He doesn't ask you to be more than who you are. And I feel like at that time, that meant a lot to me, especially as I don't know how old you are in 7th grade, 12 maybe. So I feel like at that age, you don't want to really be told who you should be or what you should be doing. And I really appreciate that from Coach Stindt. But this is the story behind my name, Coco. Once you pad up and you put on your helmet, it's really hard to distinguish between players. So they'll put athletic tape on your helmet and write your name. And I remember Coach Stindt was like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Coquan." And he was like, "No, you're Coco." And he stuck the tape on my helmet, and it really just stayed with me throughout middle school and throughout high school. So any type of athletic achievement I have is associated with that name. Hopefully by now all those records have been, beaten. But Coco Lay for the longest time was the name I would go by. And my girlfriend, her little sisters still call me Coco because they like to have nicknames for each other. So I told them to call me Coco. But Coach Stindt, thank you for being one of my favorite coaches, my first football coach, and just making football fun. I feel like during that time, you kept it simple, and when the game was on the line, we had just that go-to play, bomb it to Ittner on two, or bomb it to Ittner on one, and we'd keep games close and try to be honest. But we had this for those of you who don't know. David Ittner was one of the best wide receivers, I want to say, in the state of Wisconsin in 7th grade. All you would have to do is throw the ball in his direction, and he would pinpoint it, and he would make sure that he would catch the ball. And unfortunately, the cornerback would stand no chance, and he would run in for a touchdown. We could probably do that all game, and no one would be able to stop us. But when games were close and we wanted to either catch up or pull ahead, we would draw up that play. And another one of my favorite memories, actually, I don't know if we ran this in game, but Coach Stindt, I believe, came up with this game plan, and my fellow teammates can correct me if I'm wrong. But we had this, what is it called? This trick play where I believe Brian Clark, our quarterback, would pass the ball behind the line of scrimmage to David, our wide receiver, and he would bomb it to Flanny down the seam. And it was such a genius play. I still use it in backyard football. I don't know if it worked in a game, but it's just such a smart play. Outside of that, one of my favorite memories, I have two more. One was the watermelon relay race we would do every year, and it was, I can't remember if sixth graders did it, but seventh and eighth graders would do it and compete against each other. And I remember in seventh grade, everyone on the team has to run with a watermelon. They pass it off to the next player. And I think everyone runs like 40 meters or 40 yards or something. And I remember I got to go twice, and I was the anchor for the seventh graders, and it came down to the last two people. So it was me versus Jacob Grassi, and he had a head start. So as soon as I got the watermelon, like, I was booking it, and I was just able to catch him at the very end. So we beat the eighth graders, which is a big accomplishment. Anytime you can outdo the class ahead of you, you always feel very accomplished. So I remember Coach Stindt let me spike the watermelon afterwards, and I just feel like it was such a great moment. Outside of the watermelon relay, another one was, I think we were watching game tape, and the room was really loud. No one was paying attention or giving their time of day to Coach Stindt. And I remember he gave this little spiel about, I guess, my demeanor and how I lead with just kind of keeping quiet to myself, but also at the same time making it feel like I'm really paying attention to everything he was saying or when people talk. And he brought up this memory of his daughter, Erin Stindt, who is a friend of mine. But he mentioned that, I think it was when I was at Reed School, Reed Elementary, and we were doing roll call. I want to say this was like first grade or something. But the teacher was like, "Oh, Coquan," and I was like, "Yep, Coquan. Yep, that's my name." Or I had to correct her. I would always have to correct the teacher because they couldn't pronounce my name. But Erin went home that day and was telling Coach Stindt, her dad, "Oh, Dad, guess what? I heard the coolest name today." And he was like, "Oh, what name was it?" And she was like, "Oh, Coquan." And then later on, lo and behold, Coach Stindt would become my football coach, except he changed my name to Coco. But I remember him sharing that with the group, and I thought it was really cute and also very funny. So Erin, if you watch this, I don't know if you remember that memory, but I really appreciate Coach Stindt and the very fond memories I have of playing football for the first time ever. And Coach Stindt, you will be missed. I'm going to try to include the link of the GoFundMe page. I think it's a GoFundMe page, so you guys can help whoever watches this, if anyone. Support Coach Stindt, his family, for the funeral services. It was supposed to be for the medical expenses, but Coach Stindt passed away pretty recently. So if you want to pitch in, thank you. If not, it's okay. But for this episode or for Coffee with Coco, I want to talk about mental health. My friend Kyle Luong is going to be our guest for today. He is a mental health advocate in Orange County. He works in the Vietnamese community, and he talks about or works with the school districts, talking about teenage suicide. He tries to bridge the gap between parents and their children. If you don't know much about Asian parents or the Asian community, we pride ourselves in doing well in school, and that pressure seems very insurmountable, and at times it puts this mental stress on students, and he is doing his best to communicate with parents and how to have a healthy dialogue with their kids and to support them in their dreams. So he's gonna sit down and talk with us for September, the month of suicide prevention. So I know it's a little late, but hopefully this episode comes out before October. But gonna be sitting down with Kyle. I'm gonna be having coffee from Glee Donuts, which was recommended by Kyle. If you've never been there, apparently their burgers are really good. I had their, I want to say breakfast burrito once. It was really good. But I'm gonna try some coffee from there. And our musical guest for tonight, or for today, is Bon Iver. So stick around, guys. Thank you. So welcome back, guys. My first guest today, well, my only guest today, is a good friend of mine. Welcome to the show, Kyle Luong.
Hi, everybody. Gorgeous day, huh?
It really is. How have you been, Kyle?
Good. Probably as good as I can expect to be during this time. Yeah,
that's good. So I want to talk about the month of September is Suicide Prevention Month, correct?
Yes.
Can you talk about some of the work you do within Orange County?
I'm a little bit guilty because during this time of COVID, I haven't been doing as much as I normally do, but I am keeping up with a little bit of the community work. I'm part of a collaborative that is called the Youth and Family Wellness Coalition, and then what we do is we're a collaborative of different nonprofits that serve the local communities in Orange County and Los Angeles, and we get together and we plan and we hold basically educational seminars on mental health topics, but also a lot of what we do is just kind of reaching out and to families to help families make that connection between crossing like kind of the generation gap, if you will. Yeah, improving communication within families.
That's great. Yeah. If someone is going through a tough time or having suicidal thoughts, how do we support them?
I'm not a trained social worker by any measure, but for me, what I do is I just reach out and I just ask them very simple things like how are you doing? What have you been doing? I try to check up on the person to see if they're actually taking any time for themselves, right? Because so many of us, we're so caught up in our little world that we have to be the perfect breadwinner. We have to go and punch in the time clock, and don't ever show up to work late, right? Put in your hours, put in your best effort for your family if you have a family, or just for yourself. And then we project onto this outward persona, if you will, to society, that everything is great, even when things are getting ready to fall apart. So for me, and then I'm just as guilty of this as everybody else is. Recently, I've been starting to give myself permission to just do what I feel is joyful for myself, and not so much conform to any ideals of society, and then I share that with my friend. So like a couple months ago, I noticed one of my friends, he's been laid off during this time of COVID. So we just have a little chit chat, check on each other, and then we agree to maybe do a little bit of physical activity together. We might go back and start riding our bikes together. So I think just bottom line is to just check in and be available. Your most valuable gift to anybody is the time you spend with them, right? I know that growing up with my little Vietnamese American group of friends, we never ever faulted or resented our parents for any material things that they weren't able to give us. But many of us do feel very hurt, especially when it comes to like our fathers, because a lot of my guy friends, they are very hurt and very resentful of the time that their father never really gave them.
Yeah. Hopefully this is the last question, but I wanted to ask, how do we as a society promote mental health and talk about suicide prevention? Do you think it starts very grassroots, or does it need to start at the very top and work its way down?
For me, I'm a little bit of a rebel. So even though I'm not an anti-masker by any measure, you can see I have a California mask on, but I feel that grassroots organic is more effective and would be longer lasting, because I think the majority of human beings, we don't like to be told what to do, right? So I think with any kind of efforts to normalize the conversation, take for instance, I really don't see as a layman why we can't just have annual checkups, right? Annual mental checkup, because if you're feeling anxious and you're having a hard time just coping with everyday life, then long term that can be just as a serious detriment to your health as having heart problems, or having diabetes. Yeah, you name it, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's really difficult to see why we all can't just treat mental health as just another part of our overall health, and then not something for us to cover up and then push away in the corner.
Do you have any words of affirmation for people going through a tough time right now, or a difficult time?
It's probably gonna sound cliche-ish, but as we all know, there's only one certainty in life, is change, right? So just know that no matter how hard of a time that you're going through right now, you might be struggling in your work life, you might be unemployed, you might have a really hard time adjusting to online learning if you're a student, or you might just be plain depressed and you just want to give up on life. Remember, that's temporary. And then there are truly people who care about you. And then the world is truly a better place with you than without you. And if you can just find it somewhere in yourself to realize that. And I know it's hard for people to look at themselves in the mirror and say, oh, you know what, I'm actually a diamond in the rough. But that's actually what you are, who you are. You're God's gift to the world. And I'm not saying it in a religious way. I see it as a very spiritual way that we're given the gift of life. And not all of us are cut out to be president of the United States, PTA troop leader, but we all contribute in our own unique way. And then the world would be a little bit sad without you. So remember that, give yourself time, give yourself permission to be just you. And then, you're just fine who you are.
Oh, wow. So good. So good. I feel like when Bon Iver sings, he really taps into something deep within his soul. So we want to thank Bon Iver for making a musical appearance. We paid him in Glee donuts. It wasn't much, but he loves food, so really appreciate their time. I want to say thank you to anyone who watches this. I don't know if anyone watches this. I don't even know what to call it. I call it a talk show. But hopefully I will figure this out as time passes. But I really wanted to talk about mental health and suicide prevention for this month. I feel very honored to have been able to interview a dear friend of mine, Kyle Luong. So thank you, Kyle, for your time. Glee Donuts, thank you for the coffee. The V drip is pretty good. Kind of like Vietnamese coffee, except they use espresso beans, so it definitely was able to help me stay awake, because Kyle and I met early in the morning. And again, my condolences go out to the Stindt family during this time. But if you guys can check out the link and donate, that'd be great. If not, I hope to see all of you guys for episode 4. I have no idea who's going to come on or what we're going to talk about, but I will see you for the next episode. Thank you guys.